Whew. What's going on? Doing all right today?
Yeah, doing good. What yourself?
Oh, it's a good day. Looks like you're rocking a PGA Tour fit today.
Yeah, kind of got a golf
It's a
fit
golf.
going on here. Yeah.
Yeah. Did you watch any golf this weekend?
No.
No. Oh, I mean,
No.
it's back on. That's what I was asking.
Yeah.
John Ram
No.
out there.
No. I watched. I watched the XFL. Watched some of the XFL this weekend.
Okay.
And then
Nice.
I did watch the Daytona 500.
Yeah. Daytona. Okay. See. Okay. Hold on. Here's the thing, Nikki. I appreciate it. He also said to the Masters, "You not the only one that's already seeing it."
Yeah, you don't want me playing in the Masters.
Yeah, but you got the look.
Yeah, I mean, I will say last time I played, I broke a brand new golf club.
I thought you were gonna say broke 100 or something.
No, I don't even know if I did that.
Hey, if you just stop keeping track of score, you're fine. You don't have to worry about it.
Oh yeah. What's up, Matt?
Yeah, Matt, welcome to the show. Welcome everybody. Leonard, you picked the right day, man. It's a baseball day, and we are going to get into some baseball conversations. It's kind of so this is going to be a good episode. So I don't know. We can actually go ahead and hit record if you want. I mean, it's a short month as far as weeks go, Mondays go, and so we get extra recording time this month. So if you're up for it, we can jump right in and we'll start the show. It's going to be a different show.
Woo!
Oh, man, you guys saw that? Tubby just about lost everything.
Woo! Had to catch that real quick.
It was good hands though.
I mean, I still got the cat-like reflexes.
That's true. Yeah, always has. What's up, John? Thanks for joining the show, man. Appreciate you coming in today. Man, also a lot of new subs to the show. Love that.
Dude,
Love seeing that.
I know.
New subscribers. Come on.
People must have caught wind of, oh, there's a jersey.
There's a jersey?
And plus, I mean, just listen.
You just gotta listen. I'm telling you, that we've got to do a shirt or something with that. We'll get it one designed.
Yeah, we'll get something whipped up.
Yes, Matthew, thank you so much for subbing to the show, man. We appreciate it. So
Love
as a special treat, we're just gonna go ahead and start the podcast right now, and then we'll jump into it. It's gonna be a good episode. Y'all ready?
Let's go.
Let me see if I can find the right button here. All right, we got 3, 2, 1, go. Welcome back, everybody, to another exciting episode of the W Sports Podcast, live on YouTube as we speak. So if you're listening to this tomorrow when this gets posted, just go ahead and go on to YouTube and you can watch Jimothy, myself. As always, joining the discussion is Tubby. Welcome back, Tubby.
It is great to be back. I'm ready to talk some sports.
Yeah, and you may, if you're watching the YouTube, you may definitely get this feeling that Tubby is ready to go for the Masters, is what it looks like right now. It's the polo fit. He's looking good. He's got the white cap on too. It definitely looks like he's ready for some golf.
I mean, I'd be willing to hit some links, but it ain't gonna be pretty.
So you said right before we hit record, you said the last time you went golfing, you broke a club.
Yeah.
What club was it? I'm curious.
So, like, it was a couple of years ago. I bought a brand new 3-wood, and I have to believe that there was a defect in the shaft somewhere because I did not hit the ground. It did not hit the ground, and it's the second hole of the day. I swing, and it's like when I'm coming forward, I feel something's weird, and then all of a sudden make contact, and I look down, club head gone. And I look over, and it's gone like 50 yards to the left. Skips across the cart path, everything. Yeah, it was bad.
Did you pick it up, or were you like, you know what? I'm done.
I did pick that one up, and then also the last time I went to the driving range, I broke a club, but that club was like 15 years old.
Oh, okay, that's fair. Honestly, the set that I had for the longest time, I got it from my brother. It was like I don't play golf enough to have my own set of clubs. That's not so or anymore. And so I gave him back to him the other day, or the other month, I guess. But I haven't been gone in a while. I do miss it. So it's definitely unfortunate.
I left when I went to the driving range. I left the club head in the middle of the driving range.
Could you imagine being the next guy Showed up like, oh man, well,
Yeah, I was like, well, not going to get that one. I mean,
yeah,
I was the only one hitting at the driving range, but I was like, that one's not worth reclubbing, so
it's
I'll
definitely
just
not.
let it be. Yeah,
Okay, that's fair. That's the hardest part though. If you go golfing and you don't own golf clubs, is renting golf clubs. I hate golf clubs. Renting golf
yeah,
clubs.
yeah. I know.
Yeah.
So I basically need a brand new set of golf clubs before I go golfing again.
Well, and I think that Tulsa has one of the better par 3 only courses. You get 18, La Fortune. It's a great one. So if
Yeah.
anybody's listening today and you're in the Tulsa area and you're like, I might get into some golf, you only need like
Hmm.
5 clubs. Go to La Fortune. It's really inexpensive. You can walk. It's like, what,
Yeah.
2 hours and you can play 18 holes? It's incredible.
Yeah.
Super,
Yeah. Super nice.
yeah.
Par 3 course. And then I don't know if they still do it. They used to have night golf there.
Yeah, I do remember that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Where else are you going to play night golf? I mean, especially when the summer starts to roll around and it's like 105 in Oklahoma, and you're like, you know what? I want to play golf, but I don't want to play that bad. Night golf. Problem solved.
Yeah. I mean, those are some of the worst times I've ever had is golfing in the middle of the summer in Oklahoma, and it be like heat index of 115. And you're like, I'm dead. I don't know how I'm still. Yeah.
So which is worse, that type of golf, or when it's like 38?
Oh, I'll take 38 all day.
But man, your hands get so cold. If your hands are cold, like I don't know. If anybody in the chat, if you play golf, I would love to know. Would you rather play in 100 degrees or 38 degrees?
We all know that I don't like the heat, so I'm gonna take cold over hot any time of the year. I don't care. If I had it my way, it would be at least 50 would be the high, and that would be it. Yeah, I love cold. Yeah, I'm a cold guy. Do not. I mean, it doesn't make sense that I hate the heat and I live in Oklahoma, but I love the cold. So yeah, I'll take the 30 some degrees in the middle of the winter golfing.
Okay. All right. Well, now that that's settled, now we know. But yeah, so I accidentally made a purchase this last week. Well, accidentally. I did it on purpose, and then I'm really upset with the purchase. It's a video game. So when was the last time you bought a video game?
A couple years ago.
Couple years ago. Okay, so I never buy NBA games anymore. I just don't. I'm trying to get more into the NBA, but at the same time, I don't. But this year, NBA 2K23, they came up with this new feature where you can. I told you about it, I think, before, like where you can play in different eras. You get the Kobe era, the Magic era, the MJ era, the LeBron era, and you can play through and the graphics, the way it looks like when you're playing, the announcers, the arenas all look the same. And just say Grant Hill. You started in that era, and Grant Hill, he's going to get injured. Like the timeline still follows, the trade still happens, the free agency still happens. So you get to relive those glory days of basketball. And I got this advertisement. It got me, and it said, "Hey, you can get the Tiger Woods 2K23 or whatever it was, the PGA one, and you can get NBA 23. You can get it for PS4 and 5, which I don't have a PS5, but you can get it for both those games for both consoles." And it was like $30, and I was like, I mean, it's worth that. First off, the 2K23, the NBA one, is absolute garbage on the PlayStation. It's like the PS4. It's like they were like, yeah, I guess we're gonna make it over here, but it honestly looks worse than some of the 360 one. At least from my experience, it looks and you can't do the one thing I bought it to do. I'm like trying to search where can I go to eras. Nothing. Can only do it on the new one.
What? Only on PS5, huh?
Yeah, only on PS5. So pretty upset about it.
More of a mini golf fan.
Hey. Yeah, I know. John gets it. He's like mini golf fan. It's a little more fun. Yeah.
I mean, I'm down for some mini golf.
I know. Yeah. My wife, she's a very competitive person. She has so much fun. Golf is not necessarily her sport, but she usually typically wins when it comes to mini golf because she cheats. Somehow she gets zeros. I don't even know where it comes from.
Somehow she gets zeros.
Putting up wins, though. That's what it's about.
That's funny.
Yeah. All right. We a little side tangent there. It is golf season, though, and we're about to see all those Masters commercials. Now that the NFL season's over, we're about to see all those. Yeah. Hey, the Masters.
So, just real quick, you're talking about the NBA. Have you got a chance to watch the Bill Russell documentary?
No. What's it on?
It's on Netflix.
I don't have Netflix.
Oh, dude, you got to find a way because it's incredible.
Can I find it on YouTube?
Maybe, I don't know. But dude, it's awesome.
Let me see here.
I watched it the last week, and yeah, it definitely lives up to it. They did Bill Russell good.
Yeah, they need to put on like the ESPN app or something. Like they need to buy it. That'd be great. Well, and you
Yeah.
love Bill Russell, so I mean,
Yeah, I do.
that makes sense. So
Yeah.
yeah, I haven't seen it yet, but I'll add it to the list.
Yeah.
Great
Yeah.
sports documentaries.
Oh, I know. You'll get me. I love sports documentaries. I've watched so many over the last couple of years. I just kind of really got into them where, like, watching the MJ documentary, watched the Captain,
Which
watched the
one's
Dream
better?
Team. I like the Captain. I thought the Captain was
The
awesome.
Captain was so good. MJ, obviously,
Yeah.
that one has to
Yeah.
be like up there. I mean, they did it really well.
Yeah.
I feel like the Captain though it's baseball, so it's already difficult for people to be on board with it. But it's Derek Jeter,
Mhm.
and that did a
Yeah.
really good job too of doing both the baseball side of it and the business side. I thought.
Yeah. Melly.
So anyway, we got kind of a different episode today. So we are going to talk a little bit of baseball. We're going to talk a little bit of football. We're going to talk a little bit about college football because, believe it or not, they were trying to make some moves as well to improve the game. And then, of course, it's baseball season. Actually, games start Saturday. Saturday, I think, is the first game. Maybe there's
Really?
Friday, but Saturday, the
Smokes.
first preseason or spring training games.
Training.
Dude.
Wow.
And they're doing a better job, at least for the Cardinals, as they're trying to broadcast all their 29 of 31 of their spring training games are broadcasted.
Oh, that's cool. It stinks because the baseball is just now starting, and MLB Network and YouTube TV don't have an agreement now, and so I can't watch anything on MLB Network.
Oh, that does suck.
Yeah,
sucks big. So you're just talking about MLB Network, or are you talking about games?
Yeah, MLB Network.
Yeah. Have you? Yeah. Oh man, I don't know how that's going to work because I was doing the app or whatever on the Apple TV. That one's it's been pretty helpful for the MLB TV, but I haven't seen what the new one's going to look like. So that is a bummer. Yeah. They really got to figure this stuff out. Make it easy to watch.
Yeah, it's dumb.
Yeah. So how about we start with college football just because it's really quick. There's only one big thing that will hit, and I think it's great. Yeah, you put this in the show notes. It was college football's trying to consider a couple of different rule changes. All of them I really don't care about except one. What about you?
I'm guessing. Yeah, I the first couple, like what was it? You can end the first and third quarter on a flag or whatever, and it'll just start.
The penalty doesn't replay that down.
Yeah, it doesn't really
how often
bug me there. Yeah.
It's just not
now the not stopping the clock after every first down rule is one I'm okay with, and it's one that XFL actually has where it's final 2 minutes of the second and fourth quarter that's when it'll stop after first down. And so keep the game kind of moving along a little bit more. Now the other one, the incomplete pass one, that's just dumb. I'm sorry. I get that you're trying to speed up the game.
Yeah. But just look at what the NFL does and just boom, done. First down's great. Awesome. Cool. Keep the clock running. We don't keep every time someone runs out of bounds, it doesn't always stop the clock. It just depends on where it's at in the game. And we're used to that. I think college football does need to speed it up because it is like 4 hours. That's a long time. Yeah. People love football and they'll watch it, but 4 hours is so stinking long.
I mean, can you imagine watching an Iowa game?
Dude.
No offense to Iowa fans. I'm just saying. They had arguably one of the worst offenses ever in college football history last year.
Yeah. Beat South Dakota State. Was it 10-3?
No, was it that high? I thought it was like 5-2, 5-2, 5-3 or something. They got a safety.
Yeah.
It was a safety got a safety and field goal. Yeah.
I thought there was like a pick six. They do those all the time.
Yeah. I mean, I think that was the next game. Honestly, I believe it was the next game. They got a pick six and they won like 10-3 or something like that.
Yeah. That's what it was. Okay.
Yeah.
So no offense to Iowa, but let's find a way to help those games go quicker.
Yeah, exactly. And so I think that rule should be implemented. Now, there was few rules that I said I watched the XFL this weekend. And there's a couple things in the XFL I enjoyed that I really thought that NFL and college football need to implement. And it was the onside kick rule. Did you see that one? Where fourth quarter you can still do onside kicks throughout the game or whatever, but during the fourth quarter, you want to onside kick it. You can either onside kick it or you can go 4th and 15 from your 15-yard line. And if you get the first down, you keep the ball. If you don't, the other team gets the ball wherever, it's dead at. So it gives the offense, at least, it gives that team at least a chance, because the success rate of onside kicks is like 2%, 3%.
Yeah, it's next
At
to
least
nothing.
give it, give it some excitement. I understand that you maybe are penalizing the other team, but we're here for entertainment.
Mhm.
And so I'm okay with that. But the one I love the most is the challenges, that you get to hear the replay, the challenge, reps up in the booth. You get to hear how they break it down, how they decided whether or not it's, it stands or it's overturned or whatever. I'm like, I love the transparency, that we need that in football more, because there's, how many times are we watching a game when there's a, challenge and you go, wait, how on earth did they overturn that? Or how did that stand? And you get to, hear the audio, him talking to the ref, back and forth to the, replay booth going, okay, this is what I'm seeing. This is how we came up with this call. And I'm like, I 100% want that in the NFL and college football. So we get more transparency through the game, instead of going, well, I don't understand why they didn't call that, or why they overturned that, or why it stood, or whatever.
Script, man. They get the script at halftime and in the
Right.
first half.
It's
and
true.
stuff. That's just why it happened. That's why they can't do it.
It would ruin the script.
Show us the script. Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. I think that would
someone.
I did.
Can someone CC me on that? Before the season starts.
Yeah. That'd be great. Yeah. It would be another reason why people just got to listen. If we got CC.
Yeah. Right.
The other thing I did kind of enjoy, and it was kind of clunky a little bit, and the athletes weren't quite all there yet, like as personality that I think they can be. But was they make a big play, they make a touchdown, a big stop on defense. Now we're going to interview them on the sideline right now. Never seen that before, and it's just one of those things that I was like, I liked it because at least it brought the game a little bit closer to you. Which XFL. I mean, this is a league that you can try all this new stuff.
Yeah, and the reporter, the sideline reporter, he was literally in the middle of the field interviewing the kicker before he kicked it off.
Isn't that crazy? That's such an XFL thing to do.
Yeah, I mean, it may have not been the most entertaining right off the bat, and I think that it's understandable because they had 14 days together.
Yeah,
they had 2 weeks to try to figure all this out. The offenses, of course, they're going to struggle when you've been together for 14, days to try to get some, relationship together. So yeah, the scores were low, but I think maybe the more it goes on, the more maybe entertaining it'll be, and at least give us something to tide us over until football season's back, besides baseball.
Yeah. The one thing they do need to do a better job of is explain where these guys are from. Like the announcers have got to say, like, hey, this quarterback, you may not have seen him, and then maybe put a couple of clip highlights in there in the first half or something like that. So that way we, as people who have never heard some of these names, I knew one of the quarterbacks for sure. Like I was like, oh yeah, for sure.
Oh yeah.
Which one was it?
I'm guessing it was AJ McCarron.
Oh no, I forgot about AJ McCarron. So yeah, obviously
Paxton
Lynch. That's the one I saw, and I was like, oh yeah. But the other guys, I don't remember them. I just think it would make it easier, at least for even guys like us who are very big time college football fans and NFL fans, that it would allow us to be able to just jump in and absolutely. Let me go look that up real quick on Wikipedia or whatever, and then we could see more about the guy and draw a little bit more interest. That's one of my hardest parts right now in basketball is I don't have a whole lot of interest because I don't know these players anymore. Because the basketball it's so hard for me. I feel like that person is like, oh yeah, I don't know anybody anymore. Good thing LeBron's still in there because I know him. I know other players. But my point stands is that you want people to know names. When they know names, they have investment.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. Because, I mean, as much as, like you said, I dive into like the draft and, college football and stuff like that, there was players I didn't know. You're muted.
Thank you. I don't know how that happened.
But yeah, no, so I mean, there was players I didn't know. And so that takes a lot. I mean, I don't know everyone, like it may seem like, but I do know quite a few people, and for them to be players I didn't know and I had to go look up, it means we need more a little in depth into some of these players.
Yeah. So do you want to just keep pushing through some of the football notes, and then we'll hit baseball at the end? Got a lot of baseball today. I'm ready to go. All right, so we got a new head coach of the Arizona Cardinals, Jonathan Gannon, named head coach of the Cardinals. Already got to meet Kyler Murray. I think Kyler Murray's pretty excited about the hire, which is always a good sign when he's your quarterback. But how much he's going to get to use Kyler Murray this first season, we don't know yet. But here's the yes or no question: is this a better head coach than the previous regime?
I mean, at least we know he has had some success in the NFL.
Okay.
As a defense coordinator. I mean,
Mhm.
it's kind of hard to say whether or not. I would lean towards yes, because the Cliff Kingsbury experiment was a dumpster fire.
Exactly. So it can't be. It has to be a step forward. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you can really step back from that.
Okay, so it's a step forward. That's good.
Yeah.
Okay,
I mean,
well, easy enough.
one of your biggest problems was your defense, and you bring in a guy that built a defense in Philadelphia that was just mean.
Well, I will say that, and I will say that it's NFC as well. So the NFC is open. So you gotta, and the quarterbacks are not great in the NFC. So if you have a defensive minded guy, this is the time to make your path. I mean, you're going to have to contend, obviously, with the 49ers who are in the division, so you're going to play them twice. I do think it's a decent hire. I mean, there are definitely guys that you could have gone with over him. I mean, Eric Bieniemy, he's now he's continuing to be an offensive coordinator with an assistant head coach title, which is good, and I think it makes sense for him because we all know that the head coach he ain't going to make it through. I think this last year, when you don't know that you can get eliminated on a given Sunday from the playoffs, or oh yeah, in theory we could have made it. I had no idea. Okay, so they're just going to have him for a little bit longer, and then he's going to be done. And this just makes sense. We're going to have an offensive-minded guy. We're going to have him be interim, see how it goes, and give him that shot. So for Eric Bieniemy, no longer a chief offensive coordinator, I mean, this is a good fit for him, or do you think why leave?
No, I totally understand why he left. And it's the fact that he probably wasn't getting the recognition he got because of Andy Reid being such a good play caller and such a good offensive-minded coach. And there was people probably going, okay, we saw what happened with Matt Nagy in Chicago. Mm-hmm. And now could that possibly happen again if we go after Bieniemy and make him our head coach? Was he really the one, behind the offensive success? And so let him go. Yeah, I think it's great for him to go somewhere and maybe be able to show, okay, I was, a big part of what was going on that offensive side. I can, build on that. Then maybe next year or a year after that, depending on what these, head coaching openings are next season, he can finally get himself a head coaching job, because I think it's a travesty that the guy hasn't had a head coaching job. And if that was the big case, it's understandable, because like I said, we saw what happened with Matt Nagy.
That was a disaster. That dude was, which, I mean, he already found himself another job, so that's great.
Yeah. Yeah, right?
Yeah, we're gonna move on past that one for now. Because Andy Reid is still the greatest coach in the league right now. I mean, sorry, Bill Belichick, but it's clearly Andy Reid at this point.
Yeah.
As it stands today. So Eagles lost both of their coordinators. So obviously we've already talked about both of those. So how big of a hole is this for them going into next year? Is this that big of a deal, or is it, listen, this is a rotating wheel sometimes and it can be for some teams. It's a rotation. Who's going to be there? I mean, just look at, in college with Nick Saban, it's constantly a rotating revolving door. So what do you say?
It depends on, I think with the Eagles, they're in a good situation, at least offensive wise, because you still got Sirianni there, who's a great offensive mind. So I don't think the offense will take a step back. The defense would be the one spot that I'd be worried about. And it sounds like Jim Leonhard may be a realistic option. Former Wisconsin defense coordinator, got offered the Packers defense coordinator job back, a couple of years ago, and he turned it down because he was under the understanding that whenever Paul Chris retired, that he would be the head coach. And well, we know what happened there. He ended up not lost his defense coordinator job, but maybe a great fit, because he's shown he can be a good defense coordinator, but can he, take that elevation to the NFL would be the biggest question. So the defense may fall off a little bit, and depends on also who they're able to retain on the defensive side. Javon Hargraves is going to be a free agent. That's a big, piece. If you lose him in the middle of that defensive line with the older Brandon Graham and Fletcher Cox and Dominican Sue, the older people on that defensive line. So if you lose a Javon Hargraves who had a, career year, you're going to already a somewhat shaky deep, run, defense, they're going to get even worse. And I want to say Hargraves had the most sacks by defensive tackle this year, somewhere around 11 or 12. So it's a lot of production you could be losing there. And then James Bradbury too. So may not be because of the defense coordinator, but I'm sure a lot of people would, blame it. Oh, well, we lost our defense coordinator. But depends on what they're able to do with the money they have, because we all know Jalen Hurts is about to get paid.
He's going to get paid. They're not going to spend any money on running back though, but and the receivers are locked in right now. So I guess that's a good thing. But I mean, like you said, there's a lot that they got to figure out. I do think because of the way the NFC is right now, that they should be okay.
Yeah, I think so.
Do you think that Jalen Hurts is the next quarterback to win their first Super Bowl out of like him, Burrow, Allen, Lamar? Who else is out there? Or Lamar?
Herbert.
Yeah, Herbert is another one. Between those guys, Lawrence will be the other one.
Yeah,
I think that makes sense.
I think he has a better shot at any of them making it to the next Super Bowl, because every single quarterback besides Jalen Hurts you name is in the AFC.
Yeah,
and they have to go through one man, and that's Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, I could have thrown Dak Prescott in there, but we don't want to laugh that much right now.
Yeah, I mean, it would have been a funny joke.
Yeah,
but no, I mean, I think it's the most realistic.
Yeah.
Mac.
Yeah. So apparently Daniel Jones, we missed him. So our bad. Daniel Jones, watch out.
Yeah, forgot Daniel Jones. I mean,
they say he's going to get franchised. That's like the word on the street. Maybe I think that's way too much to be paying Daniel Jones. I think
I heard that he's wanting $45 million a year.
A year? Oh no.
Yeah.
No. Sorry, no. Oh, go get Derek Carr.
Go get Derek. But I think out of those guys, I want to say Joe Burrow, because I think Burrow has that it factor. He can get there. So yeah, I'm gonna go Joe Burrow, even though he would have to beat Patrick Mahomes to get there more than likely. But I think out of all of them, he has that, ability just to go out. I mean, he's made a Super Bowl a year that no one was expecting. It was a year that we expected them to be bad, and we both predicted that Zach Taylor would be the first coach fired that year.
We did. Well, he had up to that point he had been pretty.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Oh, yeah. To our credit, his record leading up to that season was like 4 and like 20 something.
Burrow's rookie season was not looking great. I mean, it was looking good, but not like, he's turning the corner. Anyway, so yeah, I think you're right, and we'll have to see. I mean, Leonard, you mentioned Herbert needs a new head coach. You just got a new OC, but I think you're right. Head coach is what they do need. I can't believe he survived.
Well, did you see that the defensive coordinator for the Chargers not really stepped down? Staley let him go interview for a job, but it wasn't for a defensive coordinator job. It's for the defensive passing coordinator job for the Dolphins, and he took that over staying as the defensive coordinator for the Chargers. So the only thing that told me is that he doesn't like the coaching staff or the front office or something, because why would you leave your defense coordinator job to go be a passing game coordinator on the defensive side under Vic Fangio?
I 100% agree, but this is one of the reasons when I say the list of different quarterbacks, why I'm like, man, it's so hard to imagine Herbert getting it because of the coaching, because of it's the Chargers. The Chargers do what they do. The other one was I would love to say Joe Burrow. Well, actually, I wouldn't. I don't like Joe Burrow because I'm a Chiefs fan. But I would say him most likely, or Allen. But one of those plays for the Bengals who hasn't had success and a winning culture in a long time, since the 80s. And the other one, Josh Allen is plays for Buffalo, who's been cursed to never win a Super Bowl. So, but they can be really good, but can they make it? So that's my biggest issue there. And then Lamar Jackson, again in the AFC, he's in a really tough division that always plays well. So it to me, it's like, man, it's got to be Hurts because he's in the NFC. And then I'm not going to say Dak Prescott would be second, but he'd be higher on the list because he's in the NFC.
Yeah, I mean, he would have to be, but you look at the things for the NFC side, and it's just quarterback play wise. If Rodgers is gone, you got one.
Yeah, you think he's gone, right?
I believe he's gone. Well, I mean, there's the report that came out supposedly this longtime reporter for the Packers said that they're just disgusted with him, whatever that means. I don't know if it's for all the drama and all that stuff, and that they're ready to move on with Jordan Love as moving forward. So
Makes
that,
sense.
yeah, I mean, I get it. I totally get it because he's been pulling you around here and there. Yeah, JP knows it's the Love era.
Era of Love is going to
Yeah.
be the Packers fan.
Yeah, and so I'm all for it. I was for it during the middle of the season. If you just listen, I was ready for Love to come in, but I just I I don't think he retires. I don't think there's any way he walks away from 58 million, 60 million.
No, you're right, but we've seen this before.
Yeah,
we literally saw the same thing in the last 3 years of Brett Favre's career. I'm gonna. It doesn't, and then finally the Packers like, listen, we're done. We've seen this before.
Yeah.
We got to move on. And he went to the Jets, and he was terrible. And guess who won? Lots of teams have been not lots of teams. A couple teams have been Rodgers, but the Jets have stood out, and they desperately need a quarterback. And they need a guy who can get it done, on a big stage.
It makes sense, and I know there's a lot of people like, oh, there's no way he'd go to the Jets. It's the Jets, but they're missing a big factor is that they've got Nathaniel Hackett there, and if you are, Packers football, him and Nathaniel Hackett had an incredible relationship. That was the biggest reason why that the Denver Broncos were the favorites for Aaron Rodgers if he decided to leave last year. It was because of Nathaniel Hackett. It had nothing to do with the team around it. It was because of Nathaniel Hackett. And so I think that gives them more ammunition than, say, the Raiders. I get that Devontae Adams is there, but Nathaniel Hackett is a big deal for Rodgers to go, okay, well, I can go here. I'm already going to know the offense.
Mm-hmm.
I go to the Raiders. I'm going to have to learn a new offense through McDaniels, and then I'm going to have to, worry, do I have a team that's good enough for us to win a championship? You take him and put him on the Jets. If they are able to get the continuity of things right on the offensive side, they've got the defense.
Mm-hmm.
That defense of theirs is scary good. And they were so young last year. You give them a quarterback that can win you games. I mean, they almost made the playoffs with Joe Flacco, Mike White, Zach Wilson, and was Strevler.
Yes.
Chris Strevler.
Strevler was his name. Scott?
Chris Strevler.
Dude, yeah. Heck if I know. But you knew, for the record, I remember texting you. You're like, oh, yeah, Minnesota.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
I mean, so they almost made the playoffs with that group of quarterbacks. Mm-hmm. You put Rodgers in there. But the biggest thing, and I said this a few weeks ago, is will he be able to gel with that offensive, the wide receivers, the running backs, the line, fast enough that it doesn't hurt them. I think the offense is good enough that it could, withstand that, and then it would give them a real legit chance. But it's going to be a lot tougher doing it in the AFC than it would be the NFC because you named off all the quarterbacks on that side. You have to beat them.
It's like the Western Conference when we were growing up in high school and junior high of how good they were in basketball. In the East was always garbage, except for 2 teams. In the West, you'd win 50 games out of 82 and miss the playoffs.
Yep.
I mean, that's what it feels like now. You're going to go because you'll have teams in the NFC like this year, 8 and 9, make the playoffs, win the division, and then you'll have teams in the AFC where I think 9 and 8 was the worst record, but still, winning.
So. And it was in one of the tougher conferences in football in the AFC East.
Yeah. Yeah, so there's still no chance to have any of these quarterbacks pick a spot or get traded yet, except for one, and that's Derek Carr, who was officially released. He got his money. Good for him. After all the stuff that they did to him, and he's brought everything he could. He's not a great quarterback. That's fine. On a good day, he's top 15. On a really good day, he's top 15. On most days, he's anywhere from like 15 to 22. 18 to 22 in that range. I would guess. Now, he's a good quarterback. The question is, where does he land? There's a lot of teams who've been linked to him have got no stinking money. They can't pay the guy. He doesn't need to get paid much because he's still getting some Raider money. But my question is, do you have an early prediction on where he signs, or does he want to wait it out a little bit?
I think the Saints find a way. I think they find a way to shed some money.
No money either.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. They find a way to shed some money and bring him in.
Okay.
and it seems like that's the place he wants to be, and that's another reason why I wonder if that's why he didn't. That's why he was like, okay, I'm not accepting a trade, and he pick his team, yeah, but if it's a team that maybe doesn't have a whole lot of cap space and just can barely get under and get enough for him to go there, maybe that's what he's banking on. Someone like the Saints, if that really is a place he wants to be, he's going to have to take a small contract.
Yeah.
And so maybe that's part of the reason why he said, okay, I won't accept a trade anywhere, because he knew that they wouldn't be able to take on that $40 million cap hit that he's going to have. So that could be a part of it, but that's the team I think stands out the most to me. I know he went and saw the Jets. The Panthers could be a sneaky team for him, depending on if they're, how much they're wanting to go after a quarterback in the draft. They're going to have to move up. If not, they're going to be sitting there and possibly taking a guy that we don't believe should be in the draft this year, and Anthony Richardson.
That's what I thought you were going to say. Yeah.
Yeah.
But they've had that already once. So
yeah. But I mean, it still could happen. It still could happen, and then pickup Carr and just have him there for a couple of years as a bridge quarterback. I don't know. They play two completely different types of football, so probably wouldn't work out a whole lot.
No,
but
it wouldn't be one. Carr's hurt. We're gonna sub in, and it just wouldn't.
Right. Work. Yeah, and plus they also have Matt Corral already.
I know. See, that's my thing, is the dude didn't get a shot this year, and so I would.
Yeah.
And it was what the Commanders did earlier this year when they were trying to figure out. Oh, it's obviously not Carson Wentz yet. Okay, we already knew that for the last 3 years. And then the other guy,
Sam Howell or Heineke.
Yeah, and he was hurt. So give Sam Howell the ball. He at least there's a time where he was projected to be a top 5 pick, and then obviously fell down. But he was, and so at least there were the physical tools there. So why not give him a chance? Same thing. They're already asking the question for the Falcons is, I mean, are we already moving on from Ritter? Dude, only played 4 games. Give him some time to merit. The clock is ticking so fast, not only for quarterbacks and head coaches these days. It does not bode well, and it's just not a good product when you do that. Give the guys some time, build around them, have a good culture.
Yeah, and I agree. And you listen to the draft prep from last year. We all know that I was on the Sam Howell over Malik Willis train the whole time.
Man.
I was so that whole narrative. Oh, well, look at the possibilities with Malik Willis. Well, Sam Howell was projected as the number 1 quarterback before his last year at UNC. He was projected to be the number 1 pick in that draft. But yet, because he had somewhat of a back year compared to the year he had before, after losing his top 3 receivers, his top 2 running backs, and 3 offensive linemen, he had a bad year, and everyone was like, oh, well, he's not any good. And Malik Willis is this guy. And then you look at the numbers, and everyone let Malik Willis numbers slide because they're like, oh, the possibilities. But he played competition-wise was so much worse than what Sam Howell was playing. And Sam Howell still put up way better numbers.
Yeah.
And Malik Willis had, his numbers were even worse than
they were,
the year before. And everyone was so, oh, he's a first-round pick. He should be the number 1 quarterback taken. And I was just like, I don't understand how you can go from that, severe, just automatically, oh, he had a bad year at UNC. He's horrible. I think the Commanders possibly got a great steal in the 3rd round, taking Sam Howell over, taking Malik Willis in the 1st round, or even taking Malik Willis at that pick. And so I agree. Matt Corral was my 2nd quarterback in that draft. No, actually, Matt Corral was my 1st quarterback. I had him ahead of Kenny Pickett. I love what Matt Corral can do, and I would love to see him get a shot. The broken foot hurt his chances of, getting a chance at, starting any time this year. So maybe they give him a shot. It just depends on the new coaching regime. Yeah. Whether they're, like, oh, that's not my quarterback. I didn't draft him, so we got to go out and get our own, or we go out and sign someone.
Yeah. Well, lots of decisions will be made when free agency starts. You'll see all these pieces move. I think Derek Carr moves before the free agency starts because he wants to probably almost handpick where he can go rather than wait to see where everything falls and then go where any leftover pieces are. I think he wants to do that. And he's not trying to set the market or anything like that. I really don't think so. But Rex Ryan, is he the answer? What year is it?
Yeah, that's what I said. I don't know.
No, Sean Payton and Rex Ryan. And we're like, yeah, no, great hires, man. These are genius.
I'm out on the Rex Ryan. I'm absolutely
on board.
I'm absolutely out. I'm okay with the Sean Payton. The
Yeah,
Rex Ryan, I'm out. I don't understand. Do people not remember the last time he was a defense coordinator in Buffalo? They had one of the worst defenses in the NFL that those couple years or the year or whatever he was there.
yeah,
And everyone's like, oh, but he's such a good coach. He's such a people person. Yeah, he's a great people, player coach. He
yeah.
he gets along with the players great, and he was a really good defense coordinator back in the day.
Yeah.
And I did not take anything away from him, but the game has evolved so much since he has been in there. And you saw the last time he was a defense coordinator that the game had already passed his defensive scheme by. And it's not going to be, it's going to be the same thing we're talking about with Mike McCarthy. Go, oh, well, he took a step back, and he can, re-engage and try to figure out new schemes and stuff like that. It didn't work for Mike McCarthy. That was Mike McCarthy's whole reason of taking the year off of coaching, is so he could revamp his offensive scheme and all this stuff. It's the exact same scheme he ran up in Green Bay. It's going to be this exact same thing with Rex Ryan. I think it's absolutely horrible. They need to keep the guy that they have there. And Vero, I think he is an incredible a young defense coordinator with a great mind. You saw what the defense
The
did last
defense
year.
is great. What are we doing? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you literally through the first 11 games, if you would have scored at least 19 points, you would have lost
incredible.
one game. It may have been 18 points. It was somewhere around 18, 19 points. You would have lost one game because your defense was that good.
In the AFC.
In the AFC. And so what are we doing? Why are you trying to make a change at defense coordinator when you got like I said, a great young defense coordinator? This was the other guy I wish the Packers would have hired if they didn't get Jim Leonard, because it was between Joe Barry and Vero, and they took Joe Barry because of he had done it before, and I was mad. I didn't like it because Joe Barry was an awful defense coordinator when he was defense coordinator. And so I was like, give the young guy a chance. You got a young head coach, get a young defense coordinator in there and try something new. Yeah. And
well, let me throw this out there. What was the last year that Rex Ryan was a head coach, or like what was the last year?
Because I think last year was a head coach.
Yeah. Season.
I mean, it had to have been with the Jets. And it was like, we'll say 2014.
So that was in his tenure there. 2016 was the last season that he was on the staff there, which is still more recent than I thought, because I was the same boat with you. I was like 14, 12, right around there, 13 or so, probably 15, maybe at least, but 16. And here's the thing. People think that is close. I don't know if y'all know this. 2016 was nearly 7 years ago.
Yeah.
Let me just let that 7 years. So when you look at people like, so isn't Josh Gordon in the XFL, by the way?
Yeah.
Okay, so dude hasn't been good
for the Seattle Dragons
since 2013. Okay, stop. He's not good. He had one good year with a bunch of bad quarterbacks a decade ago. We're done. Move on. Mm-hmm. Michael Thomas. I'm going to go ahead and throw this out here too. Michael Thomas. The dude is glass. Stop it. Stop paying the dude so much money. It's been forever. But he's almost good. No. In baseball, same thing. Byron Buxton. The dude can't play more than 100 games. Stop treating him like he's going to play 100 games until he does it 2 straight years. He's not going to. Big surprise. There are lots of players like that. Those are just a couple of handful I'm going to cherry pick on because I'm frustrated with it. Because it's 2023. All right? It's 2023. Let's not forget what year it is. 2016. Yeah. Give me that. I know. He's just been talking about football for the last 7 years. He's going to be good.
Yeah, when I saw that name pop up, I was like, that's dumb.
Yeah.
How do you go from possibly hiring Vic Fangio as your defense coordinator to Rex Ryan?
That's why I asked the question. What year did the Broncos think it is?
Yeah. I mean, there's got to be, some younger guy out there at least. I mean, either keep your guy or go out there and get someone that is in this era of football.
Yeah.
And, let him go.
And because the game has changed a ton.
Yeah, a lot. And, I don't know. I just when I saw it, I was like, "What are you doing? What are you doing?"
Yeah, I'm right there with you. What are you doing? So, any other football notes before we move on to some baseball? Because I didn't know how long we were going to take on football, and here we are, 40-something minutes into this. This is great.
No, I don't think I got anything. I know we kind of went off a little, few rabbit holes there. Yeah,
but that's what this part of the season is about. There's not a whole lot on right now except basketball, and basketball just did the All-Star game. Did you watch any of it?
God, I don't. I tried. I watched. I mean, I watched it. It was on in the background. At least I saw some of it, but the game itself was absolutely awful.
Yeah, I heard. And they went away from that thing where it's just win the quarter for the charity, and the fourth quarter it's to like 20. Like that's more competitive to me anyway.
Yeah, it was. I don't know. It was weird.
Yeah.
I mean, Jason Tatum put up 55 points in the blink of an eye. They were shooting shots from other side of half court.
Dude, it's yeah. They got to figure it out. And so I have a theory, and this goes to baseball as well. Why
Mhm.
all-star games don't matter anymore. Are you ready? It's
Let's hear
thought
it.
out. So all-star games were huge, absolutely massive. A little bit even growing up, especially baseball. But it's
Mhm.
really died down. People don't care about it. Ain't going to watch it. They may go to it for a little bit, but they're more excited about the three-point contest, the home run derby, the stuff like the quarterback skills competition. Like even if we went to the
Mhm.
Pro Bowl, that's what we're probably more excited to watch is that or dodgeball over the actual
Yeah.
football. The reason why these games were so big was especially in baseball, interleague play. You did not have it before. Wait, like that, you would never
Mhm.
ever see Aaron Judge versus Clayton Kershaw. There's no way to see that matchup. But in the All Star game, there's a good chance you're going to see that matchup, or you're
Yeah.
going to just the best of the best. And so, and it was also nationally televised when so many of the other your team, you're never going to, if you lived in LA, you're not going to be able to watch all these other teams in the Midwest or on the East Coast. You
Mhm.
just can't because back in the day, it just didn't work that way. You couldn't stream stuff. And so the one chance that everybody can tune in and see all the best players, they're going to do it. But now that we can stream everything, we can watch the highlights, we can watch those MLB. You remember MLB stories? What they did last year on the app? It was great.
Yeah.
You watch the game, you can watch every single one, condensed and just the big highlight, the big moments, which
Yeah.
is okay. But like you can do that, and now I can see all the players. So, so the All Star game doesn't mean as much anymore now because I had so much more access to these players.
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense. And also, like Stephen A. Smith was talking this morning. They're talking about the dunk contest. Mac McClung winning. Yeah,
Yeah.
you deserve to win it
Yeah,
because
it's great dunks. A D3 player going out there and dominating.
you got a G League guy
Yeah.
winning the dunk contest, and his argument was like, okay, back in the it all stopped when LeBron James came in the league because LeBron James wouldn't agree to be in the dunk contest. He's like back in the day you had all the big name guys being in there. You had Michael Jordan, you had the Dominique Wilkins, the Dr. J's, Vince Carter, Tracy McGrady, Jason Richardson, all these guys that were known for their dunks and their, ability to, dunk the ball and, crazy, insane dunks. And LeBron James was like, nope, not doing it. And he's like, he ruined the dunk contest because he would not, do it. And I mean, it makes sense. I mean, whether not to put it all on one guy is kind of crazy, but I mean, it's true. I think it gave these other guys, going, well, if LeBron ain't doing it, why would I do it?
Yeah. It is a culture thing. The culture
Mm-hmm.
of the NBA does not say I'm going to play 82 games. I'm not going to play 38 minutes. I'm not going to play a back-to-back days. You remember the year they had the lockout and every team had one back-to-back-to-back? Could you imagine
Yeah.
trying to do that this year? And how many
Oh, yeah.
players just wouldn't do it? Like they would say, "Well, we're going to rest everybody on the third day. We're just going to forfeit." It would literally come
Mm-hmm.
down to forfeits. And I think you're right. You can't. It's a lot to put on one player. But I think it's important to know that one player can affect culture like that.
Yeah.
I mean, you think about Isaiah Thomas, not the Isaiah Thomas now, but the one back in the '80s, and the
Yeah.
culture and the NBA around that. Like he wasn't the one who said it because obviously MJ was there and Bird and
Mm-hmm.
Magic, but these guys brought a competitive nature and they were going to bring it every single day. And Kobe was continuing to do the same thing. Even guys like Pau Gasol played every single day.
Yeah.
Right? They're going to play as much as they can. They're going to continue on and maybe a little longer than they need to because they love the game. Where now so many guys are using this, because they love the game, but it's really good money. They're really great at it. And so what if I don't play, tomorrow night?
Yeah.
I'm not really worried about it. I'm going to put I'm sick, or
Yeah.
a bruise. Like what's the fancy word that they use for bruise?
Contusion.
Oh, that one gets me. Oh, a thigh contusion. Good deal. Good. Okay. Mm-mm.
Yeah.
Thank you for not playing because of a bruise.
Yeah. And Windhorst pointed out a thing. He's like, what it is said these players are so afraid nowadays to hurt their image. So if they do bad in the 3-point contest or they do bad in the dunk contest, it's going to hurt their image, and so it could hurt them. Brand deals and all this other stuff. I'm like, when was that the most important thing when it comes to basketball?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, Jordan has Jordan and all that, but that wasn't the thing that he was worried about the most. He was worried about, exactly. He was worried about going out there, playing his hardest every single game, and winning championships.
Yeah.
Not worrying about, oh, well, is this brand going to drop me? I mean, we saw Kevin Huerter go out there and get 8 in the 3-point contest. 8.
It's not very good.
Yeah. Okay. Who cares? At least he went out there and tried.
Yeah.
And that's, like John Morant. They're talking about him possibly being in the dunk contest. He said, I'll never do it. I'm like, why? Dude, you're one of the most electrifying guys in basketball. You go out there and put on a show in the dunk contest. You know what it does? It probably helps your image out. It prolongs your legacy.
Yeah.
You go out there and you put in one of those incredible Vince Carter, Michael Jordan, Julius Irving, Dominic Wilkins type dunk contest. You go out there and you just put on a show for everyone. You're gonna. Look at Mac McClung right now. That's all everyone's talking about right now. All-Star break.
Yeah.
Who would have thought Mac McClung would have been the one highlight of it all?
I know.
A guy that was in the G League 5 days ago. But he went out there and put on a show. Granted, whether he should have been there or not, but at least he went out there and did it.
Obviously, you should have been there.
Yeah.
Obviously, you came ready to prepare. And that's the thing. Imagine Ja doing any of those dunks or doing all of them.
Yeah.
Oh, man, that had the potential. You're never going to do what Vince Carter did. That dunk contest was incredible. But it could have, at least for kids our age back then, it could have done that for them today.
Yeah.
And it could have been that moment for them. Like, oh, I love Ja, and especially in a market like Memphis, you got to have that. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, because can you imagine you go out there and do that? You jumping out the build. You may be able to get you a shoe deal, your own shoe. But yet you don't want to go out there and dunk the ball for 15, 20 minutes.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like you're going out there and you're like the home run derby. That makes sense because you could throw off your swing or whatever.
Yeah.
You're going out there and dunking a ball, something you do in the game all the time, or you do in warmups, or just out on your free time. These insane dunks just for fun. Why not do that in front of a crowd?
Yeah. Well, and he made all of his dunks first try too, which was great. Even better.
Yeah.
Remember that year they used to give 2 minutes or whatever, or 3 minutes.
Yeah.
You have timer and just kept missing, and it just really lost.
Brian Cardinal. He kept on trying to throw the jersey off and run, and then he had to go back, put the jersey back on. Yeah, no.
Done.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna move on to baseball. So those of you who came today to listen to some baseball talk, thank you so much for sticking around with us, because we're gonna dive in right now. And as we move on into the spring and in the summer, we're a full-on sports podcast, so we will bring it, but we will be leaning into a lot of the baseball world. So I'm excited. So the biggest thing this year is going to be rule changes. And Tubby and I have been texting a little bit back and forth on some of these things. But one of them is, I'll highlight them real quick. You probably already know what they are. So fast forward 2 minutes if you already know what they are. Anyway, except unless you're on the podcast, right? Or the live stream. Biggest one, no more shifts. All 4 infielders have to be on the infield itself and 2 on each side of second base. Doesn't do anything with the outfielders, which could cause complication. I'll get to that in a second. The other one is bases. They are now 18 inches instead of 15. I think that's correct. Have you seen the new base size?
Yeah.
It's almost silly how much 1 inch around is. Wow. But so I do, and at first I was like, that ain't gonna make no difference. And then I saw MLB do a breakdown of a first baseman do the swipe. So I'll get that to here in a second. The other one is a pitch clock. I think this is huge. 15 seconds with nobody on the 15 seconds with nobody on the bases, and 20 seconds if there's someone on the bases. So it's going to move the game along. And last year they did it also in AAA. They've been doing the pitch clock in minor leagues for so long now. Most of these guys rehab, or they were young and they've been through this. It's not going to be anything new. It's just going to be something they have to figure out how to work with. Giovanni Gallegos, we're talking to you, Mr. 50 seconds between pitches. Let's get this going. And then the other one is you can't throw the ball over to first base or to second or any base really to try and pick off more than 2 times per at bat. Is that correct?
Per at bat. Yep.
Per at bat, and then you can't because if you do, It's a automatic. I think it's a balk, so they get the base.
Bach, yeah.
Yeah, not a ball, a balk. So they get to
Yep.
take the base anyway. That's one I think eventually will go away. I don't think that one will stay.
No, that one has to stay to me. That one, in I know like everyone's going to talk about the shift rule, the pitch clock. That's the one I was the most intrigued about because what's the one thing we talk about over the last couple of years? What we miss from baseball, the small ball.
Oh yeah.
And I almost wonder if that it will increase the amount of steals and something like that.
I think it will.
Playing the small ball, and so that's something I think that needs to stay because to me that brings in more excitement to the game. It gives these teams more advantages of doing stuff. If you watch Oklahoma Sooner baseball, they may not be great this year, but they play an exciting game of baseball, and it's something that I love because it's the old school style of baseball. The button, you know, putting people in motion on the hits, stealing bases.
Extra.
Whether or not sometimes the pace running isn't great from the players, but they're putting that pressure on them through 4 games. Today was their 4th game. They have caused 3 errors on pickoffs to first base because they're putting that pressure on.
That's true.
And I think that's this new rule is we're going to see more guys steal bases because there's some, freaky fast guys, but you got guys like Trey Turner who's got stupid dumb speed and he's trying to attempt 28 steals a season. That dude should be stealing 50 sometimes a year.
Yeah.
And so they stepping off and trying to pick off, it speeds the game up 1.
Yes. Yeah.
And I think it gives the base runner another advantage, something that we're missing from baseball is the small ball, the bunts, the stealing, that stuff like that. I think that this rule may bring back into the game of baseball, and we'll see more, situational type baseball instead of, let me try to hit a home run.
Yeah. Well, I do hope that's the case. So the shift is going to be a part of that. So hope only hit a home run because there's 4 infield. There's 4 fielders on that side of the ball. They're covering all the ground, and they're pitching that to where all you can do is pull the ball. So what are you supposed to do? I guess I had to hit it over their head. That's why that happens. That's why the shift is so frustrating because Cody Bellinger did a good thing. He's wearing a Cubs jersey and it's weird to see. I was like, who is that? Cody. So it threw me off, but he's talking about, he's like, my whole career, my whole life, that's been a hit until recently. All of a sudden that's not a hit. And that's just because of the shift. So I do think the shift is going to be one that stays. I think that we may get into let's say it's a first month of the season and we see an abnormally high number of left fielders playing shallow right field. I think if we start to see that, they will have to have an impromptu change. Like someone's going to make it. The commissioner is going to force the hand of the Players Association to agree to it. Just because that's one of those ticky-tack things, and it's all about competitive edge. And I'll tell you, the number 1 team I expect to do it first is the Astros. Just saying. It's just a classic thing that they would do.
Yeah, and or these analytic-driven teams, these teams that ship the most, like the Rays, the Astros. Think of it. But the biggest problem is you better hope you have a rangy third baseman and a rangy center fielder, or you're in some trouble if they are able to put that ball over into left field.
Well, yeah, you're giving up 3 bases right there if that happens. But the thing is if that happens, they're only pitching to hit. It's so stinking hard for a hitter to take it the other way. If it's cutter in on the hands, or something like that, like whatever the pitch may be, just throwing one out there. But it's, I don't know. I don't want to see that happen. I want to see just classic baseball where it's fun to watch. And I think the pitch clock will be the number 1 indicator of this. We saw some highlights last year where they had it, and sure enough, it was like 1 infraction every 2 games was roughly what it would come down to. So that would be, we called a strike because the batter didn't get back in the box quick enough, or we called a ball because the pitcher didn't get back on the mound. And hey, let's go. We're moving this game along. Last year, the time of games went from 3 hours to 2:45 and 2:30. It was a huge difference. I had no problem being there for 3 hours. I quite enjoy it. I'm getting more for my money. I will put it that way. But I would much rather sit through a game where there's no shift and it moves along and there's a hit and run, a couple stolen bases. I love that kind of baseball more. And I would far rather watch that for 2.5 hours than what we've had the last 7-ish years
Mhm.
for 3 hours, 15 minutes.
Yeah, I was watching before we got on. I was watching the OU baseball game, and a guy from Air Force actually struck out because he didn't get in the box in time.
Yeah, but I'm sure he was mad.
Oh, he got thrown out of the game,
Yeah.
and so did the coach. Yeah, so did the coach because they're like, "What is going on?" But that third base he was on it. Like Oklahoma, they got an infraction because he didn't pitch in time.
Yeah.
I mean, he was on it. He had that stopwatch. He had that watching that clock. I'm like, great. Like I said, speed the game up. Hopefully, it'll bring more people into baseball.
Yeah.
I mean, give us the younger generation, bring them that joy of watching baseball like we had when we were younger. I mean, granted, we did get to see some great stuff, partially due to steroids.
I was waiting to see if you could say, dude, we didn't know at the time.
Yeah, no. And I mean, it was exciting and fun to watch. And we have seen. I mean, last year was an exciting year with the chase for Pujols, the Aaron Judge chase. I mean, that brought so much excitement and so many more people, I think, back to the game of baseball. Watching a go, oh, they're going to get there, they're going to reach there, and I mean, some of this we got to watch a lot of history, and so maybe this is just that part, and then speeding up the game will bring more people to baseball, and the average age won't be 55 years. People watching baseball.
Yeah, the average age of the viewer.
Yeah.
So real quick on one of the last rules before we move on to maybe some of the notes, I guess, for the season itself, is the bases being a little bit bigger. I thought it was like that's really not going to be that big of a difference, but okay, and 2 inches less is great. For trying to run bases, steal bases. These things are comically large now. I mean, it is noticeable if you've ever looked at a baseball field. The other thing is, it's a whole lot harder to get that first baseman's glove to swipe all the way back to the back of the bag. Which, why is that important? Is because that is where the base runner is going to be sliding back in with his hand on the back of the bag. So it just makes it that much harder. So either he's going to reposition himself, which is a different learning curve for the pitcher and where to throw, and the catcher, if you're like Yadier Molina and you're going to do the back to first base, it changes the whole thing. I mean, I wonder how many fewer that maybe would be thrown out, especially like the catcher to first baseman, by just doing that quick wraparound because the base is just that much bigger. Yeah. And you don't think it's that much, but it is. So you tell me, what is this? So of this rule, what do you think? And then what's the one rule that would be on its way out? You think that as they see the game evolve, they're like, okay, maybe this one doesn't have the biggest benefit. So give me like a minute or whatever of that.
So I get why they did the bigger bases, player safety, makes it, where the runner has more space to, step on the bag, all that stuff, whatever. But I didn't think of that aspect of it, of the swipe. And I thought about the stealing. It gives them a little bit, bigger surface area, sneak their hand in or whatever. But to me, I think that may be the one out of the few, because I would hope, because I don't want to see him take away the pick off. Like I said before, I don't want that one gone. I think that can help improve the game more. Okay. I think that may be the one. I don't think they're going to get rid of the shift one. I don't think the clocks are going away.
I hope they don't.
Or there's another one, about the, only other one I can think of that may go away is the starting the runner on second base. And
I think that one's here to stay.
Yeah, and from what it sounds like, it is. But, that would be the only one I could see them possibly doing away with.
Yeah.
But I honestly, I think all the new ones are probably here to stay for a little bit, just to, like I said, I don't know if the base really gives a whole lot of advantage, but I get they did it mainly for safety issues, reasonings, or whatever they want to call it.
Yeah. I have heard some people say that they wish that they would have done one rule at a time, which I'm not a huge fan of. The baseball's too far behind to do the pitch clock, but not do the shift. That's just frustrating another year. To do the shift, but not the pitch clock. Again, vice versa. We're not necessarily helping here. How do you help the game get better now? How do you help more people watch it? I think that was a great point. Yeah, I think that's great. Leonard says, "Oh, be happy that it didn't take 3.5 hours to watch the game." I think there's a lot of spouses, significant others that are very happy that the game didn't take 3.5 hours. I think the playoff games will still take that long. But it's just going to be very helpful. I mean, it made minor league games just go so much more fast, so much faster. And there are going to be TV timeouts or whatever, those that they're going to be a little bit longer already. So you can't do anything about that. But get on the mound. Let's go. Get in the box. Let's move this game.
Yeah. And I think that's the thing is everyone's going to be mad. People may be mad that they implemented so many at a time, but they've been doing this down in the minor leagues for the last couple of years, except for maybe like the pickoff and the base size. But they've been doing some of the other stuff down in the minor leagues to prep for the major leagues going, okay, is this the right direction we're going?
Yeah.
And making sure that they've had it, somewhat, because nothing's going to be perfect, but somewhat perfected to going, okay, this is how we got to do it. And this is, gives us the best, advantage, opportunity to make the game go faster, or, gives the, players more safety, stuff like that. And so it's not like it's just something they just randomly thought of, go, oh, let's go ahead and try it out. They've been researching it. They've been doing it down on the minor league. So it's not anything just, out of the blue that they're going to try. So yeah. I think a lot of the rules are great. The new ones they're implementing, hopefully, like you said, speeds up the game, brings more people to baseball, and we get some of those more, those glory days that we had back in the early 2000s and the 90s and, era of baseball.
Yeah, I hope it works. And this, I should double check, but I know the Cardinals are playing on Saturday, and it's going to be weird if you're tuning into any of the spring training games because it's one of those where maybe the best players on your team aren't there. And I won't say half the roster because the roster's huge in spring training, but there's going to be some of the big names. I mean, the Cardinals won't have Arenado, Goldschmidt, Waino. I don't think Contreras is there.
Yeah.
Lars Nootbaar is not there. Tommy Edmonds not there. The starting lineup. But it's going to make room. So if you're excited, if your team is terrible, this is a time to be excited because you can see some of these really great players that are in the minor league systems, like a Jordan Walker, a Mason Wynn, who are going to get their chance. Unfortunately, it means that we're also going to get to see plenty of opportunity for Paul DeJong. Because they're paying him so much money, and oh my gosh.
I hate it for the Team USA, but as a Dodgers fan, I am so happy that Clayton Kershaw is not going to be pitching.
He's sad about it.
Oh yeah, no, I get he 100% wanted to do it, but as a selfish Dodgers fan, a guy that's dealt with so many injuries over the last 3 or 4 years, you don't need to be pitching in that game. In that tournament, sorry. I don't want you getting hurt because the pitching staff could be a question this year. You've got some guys that
I will say the pitching staff, you're right, could be a question for the Dodgers. What will not be a question for the Dodgers is the coaching staff. I think you're fine.
Yeah.
Especially the way they do it. So they're going to be fine.
I mean, this is the exact same thing I said last year. Is the rotation could be a question. Well, the rotation was best in baseball ERA wise. So, I mean, may not be a big deal, but, you got Dustin May, barely pitched last year. Can Syndergaard, get something back from what he had at the early part of his career and stay healthy? Kershaw's got to stay healthy. Is Gonsolin going to be what he was last year, or was that a one-shot deal?
Yes.
And then you got Urias, who's your, most consistent, steady Eddie guy.
I know. He's what Alex Reyes could have been. Oh, you had Alex Reyes too, so have fun.
Yeah.
And no Syndergaard. You already said him, but so I like this right here. Leonard put it in the chat on YouTube. He said, I want a robot strike zone more than any of the things that we've mentioned. And that's not here yet. And I was very against this until I heard the breakdown of how it works in some of the where they've tested it in some of the minor leagues, where it's not every single call is from a robot. What it is a challenge system. And I think you're right, Leonard. And I appreciate you putting that in there because we hadn't brought it up today. That is one that could help. And you get so many challenges per game, just like you do already with challenging a call or challenging a play in the NFL or college. But once you run out, you're out. And so you had to be really, really strategic on when you do it. But it would have helped situations. The one that sticks out to me right now is the Kyle Schwarber one. Or remember Felix Hernandez when he had his no-hitter? Or was it a perfect game? And it was clearly a ball. I think it was ball 4. It was like a 3-2 count. Breaking ball, and I was like, ooh, he got, which I'm fine with. I mean, Raiders haven't gotten anything in a long time, so let him have it.
Or the Phil Umber where he at the perfect game, he throws it and they call it a strike, and I mean, that part, the way they're doing it instead of what they originally started with, where it was every single call was coming from a robot, and then the umpire would call it on the field, and it was no matter what the robot said. That was the call. I had seen so many times where it was completely in the dirt, in the other batter's box, and the robot ump called it a strike. And I'm like, well, I guarantee you, most of the time, that human ump isn't calling that. So if it is what they're saying, where it's more of a challenge system where you can challenge that strike or challenge the ball or whatever, like that aspect of it. It just can't be where it's every single aspect of the game is called by an umpire or a robot umpire, because then you just start taking the human aspect of the game out of it, and before too long we'll be seeing robots play baseball and not
That would suck.
actual humans.
Yeah, I don't want to see that. So
No.
that one isn't here yet, but it will be in the future. So I wanted to talk real quick because don't really need to break down any divisions yet. I mean, we'll get to that here in the next couple of weeks. So whatever your favorite team is, whatever your favorite minor league team is, or whatever it might be, we will be breaking those down and projections for the year. We did pretty good on projections over, well, you know, about 50%. I think all of us got one really good
except
team.
for the Red Sox.
And the Red Sox is the one that sticks out. Yeah, man, that one did not age well. It was really unfortunate. But Joseph, who was on the podcast at the time, he did say the Jays, and they made it past the first round, but not the second, I think. Like, they made it out of the wild card round, them and or maybe they lost to Houston. I can't remember now. It's been too long.
They lost to the Mariners, didn't they?
Maybe that's what it was. So the Mariners won. Okay.
Yeah.
So Bleacher Report has a couple things on there, but one of them was most top 10 players that are most likely to get traded this year. Who is number one on this list?
Shohei Ohtani.
Wrong. And
Really?
You got to be kidding me. Shohei Ohtani, everything is pointing to this dude getting traded by the trade deadline, if not sooner. I'm shocked that he wasn't number one. He is on the list. He's number 10. He's literally number 10.
What?
Yeah, and I don't know why it's. I mean, it's the Dodgers are going to trade for Shohei Ohtani. I don't understand.
Brian Reynolds?
That was number one. You didn't see this list, did you?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
Because if I did, I would have guessed Brian Reynolds first.
Yeah. Yeah, so the Brian Reynolds makes sense. If you were like, give me a hint, I was going to say, think of a team that's absolutely terrible that has one player that people will probably be in line for, like a utility type player. So Brian Reynolds didn't have a bad year last year. 27 home runs, 7 stolen bases, 345 on base percentage, and he's club control through 25. So that's 3 seasons where they have control over him. The thing is, the dude's 28. So by the time he hits free agency, I don't know how valuable he'll be, but that's why I also think that he doesn't necessarily, it's not a guarantee that he gets traded.
And with the package that is reportedly that they're asking for, there's absolutely no way he gets traded, because they are reportedly asking for basically the same package that the Nationals got for Juan Soto. So,
well, Juan Soto, and I mean,
they're pretty similar players. Just look at the numbers. I mean, if you're really that's their actual asking price and they ain't moving from that, well, sorry, Brian Reynolds, you're going to be there until you're done free agency, or maybe a year before, because you'll be older and the prices will have to go down. But
I'm just saying, you tell me that they're not. Juan Soto had 27 home runs. So did Brian Reynolds.
Yeah.
Juan Soto hit 242. Brian Reynolds was 20 points higher, 262. I'm just saying. You can't. I mean, one had 62 RBIs, one had 62 RBIs. They're the same player. They should get the same package.
One's 28, the other one was 24.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. And one has on base percentage close to 50, it seems like. So scored a lot more runs, stole more bases. It's just funny to think that that's a thing.
Yeah, that's where they put their asking mark, was somewheres with one of these players that people expect to possibly be one of the, greats to play the game with the abilities that he has. Whether he'll get there, I'm a little on the fence about it. And I know that's probably a lot of people are going to be like, oh, you're crazy. But the numbers last year were awful. Compared to what he normally, those numbers were not good. And then you thought, okay, maybe the numbers will go up. Getting traded, you'll have Machado, you have people there to protect you, and they got worse.
Mm-hmm.
So, who is the Juan Soto? Is it the guy that we saw? Not this last season, but the season before, where he had a pretty good year and got close, put his name somewhat in the MVP race? Or do we see the guy that we saw last year? The teams figure out, okay, well, we can just walk him. We don't have to let him hit. I mean, and then just let him go. And or even if we do pitch to him, he's batting 220 something or 240 something, and that's okay. we'll take that.
Yeah, you'll take that any day because you can't beat it. So we have that. Some of the other players, most of the people on that list were only in control through this year. So you're getting a rental. The other players that weren't, one was Javier Baez because technically he's not a 1-year control guy. He is, but he's not because he has an opt out after this year. There's no way this dude is opting out. He's not going to get that much money for over the next 4 years unless he has an absolutely monster first half. There's no way.
And there's no way anyone's trading a lot or really much of anything without the Detroit Tigers eating a lot of that contract, unless, like you said, he has a monster first half of the season.
Yeah. The other one was the Cardinals. Tyler O'Neill, 2-time Gold Glover. Tyler O'Neill, almost MVP candidate 2 years ago. Injury played career so far. That's been the frustration. And I think the only reason this would happen, because he's controllable for 2 more years after that, the only reason why I think that could happen is if Jordan Walker makes the team and shoots up. Like, he's just incredible. I will say we wanted the same thing last year out of Nolan Gorman, and he started off hot, and then he was a rookie, and that's to be expected. So I'm not exactly thinking that's going to happen. I do believe in Tyler O'Neill. I also believe that Tyler O'Neill's going to get hurt. So you got to have this depth. But he is part of that depth. So the only way he gets traded, I think, is if the Cardinals are seeking a top of the line ace and they're including someone else in that. And I just don't see it happening.
No, I agree. I've seen his name. I've seen Dylan Carlson's name kind of floated out there. A lot of, they have a lot of outfielders that, people are like, oh, this one could possibly get traded. I think Tyler O'Neill's probably the most logical out of them because that was a big reason why they didn't trade for Soto is because they didn't want to include Dylan Carlson in the trade. They wanted to keep Carlson, and the Nationals were adamant that we have to have, Dylan Carlson in this trade. So if Carlson got traded, I'd be shocked unless it's for something, huge.
Yeah. I don't see that. Lars Nootbaar literally reminds me the way he's been bought in the style he played. Now, again, at the end of his time with the Cardinals, Matt Carpenter was not this, but at the beginning, Matt Carpenter was very similar, especially in fandom, and the style of play, the hustle, the stuff that he did. So that's why I think Nootbaar's sticking around. Like you said, I believe in Carlson still. He's still so young. Last year, he was hurt a whole season. I believe in him. And I just think that you need 4 good outfielders on a team to really make a good run. Did you see what Steve Cohen said?
I guess not.
Okay, so he said, I should have asked the question. What owner said, ultimately, I want to develop a farm system and lower our payroll to something more reasonable? Dude hasn't even had a full season writing checks. And then he's like, man, I got really excited with that credit card. And that bill is a lot higher than I thought it was.
Oh, man. What in like total contracts, like for this year, it was somewhere. That may be different with taking out the Carlos Correa deal. But at one point, it was like total sum of the contracts, and that was including every single year of the contract. It was like $830 million that he paid out this year, just in free agencies this year. And I might want to, build a farm system instead. Well, yeah.
Plus, you're the Mets, so I will say if you get them, I do not want to play the Mets in the wild card round. You're telling me I got to win 2 games against Verlander and Scherzer?
This is the exact thing we said last year, though.
I know, but
do you want to have to win a game? 2 games against Scherzer and DeGrom, and what happened? The Phillies. The Phillies absolutely just destroyed them.
They beat the Cardinals. Yeah,
it
was great.
And so that's why I'm like, well, maybe. And Verlander, honestly, before last year, his playoff numbers weren't great. He's not really known for his playoff, pitching.
So he had a good start.
Yeah, and so maybe, it's not the most. It's probably not your best option, but Scherzer showed last year in the playoffs that he was not the guy, and the year before for the Dodgers, Scherzer showed he was not the guy in the playoffs. And so I'm not as concerned about that because it is a big difference between regular season pitching and playoff pitching. Kershaw is one of the biggest guys you can point at. One of the most dominant runs in baseball. That era, he won MVP, multiple Cy Youngs, one of the best pitcher in his era. And it came playoff time, that was not a guy you could count on. Yeah. Besides, he had a couple good ones, and then, we got cheated in one. But
Oh yeah.
it was just he hit that point, and it was just like you're looking at a high school pitcher out there trying to throw against major leaguers, and
Mhm.
you're giving up 5-6 runs in one inning. So
I will say two quick points. One, the Mets, two pitchers that we just mentioned, Verlander and Scherzer, have a higher payroll salary than I think like 8 other teams.
yeah,
Marlins, Nationals, Royals, Guardians, Reds, Rays, Pirates, Orioles, Athletics. Athletics aren't paying anybody, just for the record. It's absolutely insane.
Yeah.
It's stupid how that's a very mid tier AAA team.
Yeah.
I mean, geez, get that team out of Oakland, please. And they have so much history, which is pretty awful. Crap, I forgot what the last thing I was going to say, but I got some cool things I've been saving. You want a quick fun fact, real quick, before we wrap up the show?
Let's hear it.
Okay, so give me what you think the Colorado Rockies, what they batted as a team their first 8 seasons at home.
At home as a team? Ooh.
Yes, for the whole 8 years, and it's the whole team. They have a humidor now, I think, so it's not the same, but
same. I'll say as a team. Man, that's tough. I'll say 263.
Bro, not even close.
No.
Even close. You're like 60 points off.
No way.
Yeah, and it's not going down. The Colorado Rockies batted 326 their first 8 seasons at Coors. Yeah, the whole team did that. 8 years. We had a magical season. No, it's 8 years.
So that's crazy. I mean, they did have some decent hitters. You had Helton, you had Walker, you had Galarraga. I mean, you had some decent guys there, but that's insane.
I'm gonna send you this image. I've been holding on to this image since I want to say December or something like that. You look at it; it made me laugh so hard when I read it because the picture they use, it's just great. So
you want me to look at it now or afterwards?
Oh, you can look at it now if you want to.
I mean, if I look at it now, I'm probably gonna go black
for a second.
Screen, yeah,
that's fine. Yeah, that's fine. You can just do it real quick. I will say, as you're looking it up, there is an incredible podcast interview done with a St. Louis Cardinals podcast. It's called The Best Podcast in Sports or Baseball, because it's true. But it talks about the Houston Astros and just the whole Dodgers sign stealing thing. It is a great interview, and it talks a lot about the details. It even goes back to when the Cardinals got caught with their hands in the cookie jar, and talks about why that happened. It's a great interview. If you want to do a little deep dive into that, go for it. All right. Anyway, so back, what'd you think?
So I named 3 of the 4 players in that picture. Tony Castillo is the only one I didn't.
It's pretty good, man. I knew.
That's funny.
All right.
But yeah, I've been saving some good ones too for baseball. Like facts. Some of them are wild. Like I'll go ahead. I'll go ahead and say one.
Okay. So
Ichiro never hit. Career average never hit below 300, and after his 10th game in the major leagues, career average is always above 300. 10 games into the major league career. That 10th game, he got above 300. His career average never dropped below. Is that not insane?
It is. Yeah, no, it's incredible. And the dude could have been hitting home runs if he wanted to, but he's a hitting machine. Yeah. So 260 hits, I think, 1 year, or 200 and some absurd
number. He batted what was it, 374 1 year?
Yeah.
And that was like his second or third year in the major leagues. And that was even with the last 4 or 5 years of his season, his career batting like 250, 260, 240, 230, not great. And his average is still above 300, his career average. I was like, that's just the most consistent hitting in that early part of his career. You couldn't get the dude out.
You couldn't, yeah. 262 hits, nailed it.
Yeah.
And then 372 was his batting average. I'm going to give that to you as well. So nailed it.
Yeah.
Insane.
Yeah. Crazy.
And what an episode. What a ride. Thank you all so much for listening. Thank you for subscribing to the show. We're on our way to get to 100 subscribers on YouTube. So if you haven't already subscribed, you should. And here's why. Because we got a signed NFL jersey for you, potentially.
Yeah. I mean, 1 in 100 odds. I mean, that's not too bad, especially for a free jersey.
Yeah. That's a pretty good odds. So I would say make sure you subscribe. and then we will announce our winner as soon as we hit there. We'll have it. We'll have a little special podcast for it. In the meantime, keep sticking around because baseball season is here. But we're going to keep talking about sports. We got to golf, baseball today. We got college baseball today. We got a little bit of everything. So you don't want to miss it. Subscribe to it wherever you're listening to your podcast or on YouTube. Join the chat. Thanks to everyone who came out today. You guys made this a lot of fun. And I guess we'll see you all next time.
See ya.
See ya.